Hey, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will walk you through on how professionals use a simple method to understand how to fix non-working cameras. By using this method, you're going to be able to pinpoint the area of the damage and eventually fix it. I have here a fully working camera and our guinea pig non-working camera. Over here, I'm showing you my external power source. On the top, we have the voltage, and on the bottom, we have the amperage. Voltage is the amount of power that we need to send to the camera in order to work, and amperage is the amount of load the camera needs in certain situations. When you turn on the camera and don't do anything on the camera, you're gonna have a certain load. When you take a shot or when you go through the menu, when you use the screen, there will be different loads. The camera will use different current. This is not a value that you have to memorize, rather the action or how the camera behaves. So let's see how the fully working camera behaves. Check closely the amperage line. When I close the door, did you see that spike? That initial spike, it's a checkup that camera does each and every time you put a power to it. And most of the time that will tell us when we are trying to fix a non-working camera, once the repair succeeds, that will be the first sign telling us the repair was successful. I will turn it on and check the reading. So as I said, don't focus on the values, rather than focus on how the values are changing while the camera it's in different states. So now we have the screen on. The screen, it's off. It will be soon off. I will turn it off. Each and every time while the camera is not used, it will try to go to the minimum load possible. Afterwards, the camera will go in standby mode, which we will have 0 reading. If I push any button now, there will be an action. There will be a measurement on the amperage value. The amperage value will change. When I'm saying amperage, current, or load, is the same thing. So if I push this button here, I get a value. If I push this button here, which is lifting up the mirror and having exposure, there's a higher value. I have an exposure now. Same as when I'm taking a shot, there will be a different value. Obviously, it will be a much higher load than other examples. So sometimes we get close. There were some instances when the low was 1.3 amps, which is normal. So this is the way the fully functional camera needs to behave. There are some other ways we can understand and debug. While we try to debug the non-working camera, there are some actions that can tell us if the camera is is still some part of the issue might be correlated with. Let's wait until the camera goes in fully standby mode, and then I will show you a few things. The standby mode is set for 1 minute. You can set through the menu, you can set up the standby mode from 1 minute up to, I believe, 30 minutes, or never, in a way that the camera never goes in standby mode. But obviously, it's better to have a standby mode set on the camera rather than not having a standby, because you will have the battery will drain much quicker than it normally does. All right, so we have 0 amps, no kind of current going through the camera. If I push a button, there will be a minimum load, depends on the button I push. So this can become helpful when we are trying to debug or try to fix a non-working camera, because if the camera takes these actions, we might understand that the motherboard, it's still fully working, or maybe still the issue is not correlated with the power board. Watch what happens when the camera turns on from the standby mode. And again, when I take pictures, I put loads, more load on the camera, go through menu, and so on. So this is the normal behavior of a fully functional camera. Let's see next how a non-working camera reacts. Watch the reading. 0.08 of an amp, not as before. As soon as I insert the battery, we get 0.08. (0.12), 120 milliamps. Let's see if we try to turn on the camera, if anything changes. Nothing. What about opening the door, the side door? Since these cameras, they have a switch on the doors, one for the memory and the other one for the battery. Each time we open, it will be no load or a very minimum load just because the door is open. And that's it. This is it. This is the only reading that camera gives. But how this can help us to pinpoint the issue? This means that this simple method of checking the current condition can really help you to understand the health of your camera even before opening it. This can be a handy little step that can save you a lot of guesswork and help you pinpoint any issue early on.